Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today we are doing our build and play guide on Louisiana. So I waited a while because, as you're going to see, I haven't played that many games in this match, but I'm going to be starting the hybrid line myself, and I wanted to get a guide out on this because this is going to be coming out as a bureau ship. But I did wait because this thing is very powerful, and I thought it was going to get nerfed. Like the Chekhov finally got nerfed today, but it doesn't look like this thing's going to get nerfed. So we're going to do our build and play guide on it. This is an incredibly powerful ship, guys. And when I say that, I mean it's among the lines of Conquer, Yamato, and Colombo at the tier is the best battleships at the tier. Now, I know a lot of you guys are like, why didn't you say BA Montana? Well, BA Montana is good, but I think it just fits my playstyle. I don't think BA Montana is overpowered for most people. It is a very good ship, but I don't think it's as good as, this or Conquer or, the ones I listed previously. Now, for Commander, you could use anything, including Sims, for this guy. I would not recommend Azure Lane, New Jersey. Why is that? With only 6 main guns that you're going to be using most of the time. Now, you do have 4 in the back, but you're going to have to give up a terrible angle to use that thing too much. Um, with that being said, you don't necessarily want to build in with the main guns with like New Jersey because you're going to be close in more often than not to be using your airstrikes, and your airstrikes are super powerful. That being said, I would not be using Joseph Reeves. The skill set perks that he has are just not that good in what you're giving up. And even though that you're gonna be splitting time with your airstrikes on damage, having main guns that work help as well. And the other thing with the Hoshino here as we go into this build, having this quick reload time will balance out using HE. With this quick reload time, you can switch to HE, and if you get floods on your airstrikes, it can be very handy to shoot HE out of this thing once in a while, which I wouldn't normally recommend a whole lot on American ships, but because of what this one is with the airstrikes, highly recommend to be switching. We are using Arthas the Cold, Paulo de Revel, Flambeau Cannoneer, Dance with Death, Megalomania, Master Mechanic. Now, one major downside to Hiroshino is that you do not get fight fire with fire, and I can assure you that if there is a fire spammy cruiser, he will be trying to shoot at your superstructure on this thing because it will eat HE penetrations. That being said, let's look at our modifications. We're using AA Guns Mod 2 for the better AA, propulsion mod, and concealment mod. The propulsion mod I would highly recommend because you're going to be um, playing close in and wanting to get back and forward like a secondary ship is pretty much what you want to think of this thing. Kind of a brawler in some aspects. And artillery plotting room, as always, for American battleships in the 4th slot. Now, loadouts. You do get 6 good heals on this build. These are pretty decent heals. They're not as good as, for example, BA Montana, or I don't even think they're quite as good as Ohio, but they are good heals. On this, we're using Catapult Fighter because of Arthas. If not, I would highly recommend Observation Seaplane, especially if you're going to be using Hiroshino, because that grouping will help quite a bit. And as you can see, it is a 20% grouping buff as well. Now, for your specs, 91,000 house, so respectable, along with a 37% torpedo reduction, which with as long as this ship is, it is a Montana haul. It can be a little bit easier to eat torps if you're not careful. Now, your airstrikes. This is really, really powerful. You just have to get used to aiming them. And I actually would recommend doing a few matches in AI first because my first few matches in standard, I kind of sucked with these. I'll be honest. It took a little bit getting used to. I tried to pull them back too far from where I was aiming, and you don't necessarily want to do that. You want to leave them kind of close to your target. so that it doesn't take so long to get there. As you can see, the torpedoes are 55 knots. If you back them up too far, you will miss all the time with them. It does take practice. Just that is the one thing with this ship. But once you have that, it is absolutely these things can be absolutely devastating. You get 3 planes giving off 2 torpedoes each for a total of 6 to hit for 7,600, and I can assure you, boy, do they hurt people, and they do. Even if this thing does get nerfed, which it should, it's still going to be respectable because of the airstrikes. Guns, you do have 10 16-inch guns. They are the American. They're pretty decent for the most part, and on this build have a decent reload. Just remember that back turret has a terrible firing angle, and you do not want to give up your broadside just to have that thing shoot. Now, sure, you can do the warship wiggle once in a while with it to get that rear turret involved if you need to. But a lot of times you're going to find not in most positions you're not going to be able to use that rear turret a whole lot. This thing has fantastic AP on it when you do get it to work, and if it does hit. And the AA defense with our build is freaking amazing. You will absolutely destroy planes if they get near you. I haven't yet, but this is the same as basically most Americans in even better probably than most American AA. Maneuverability, decent speed on this build, not overly crazy. Not a good turning circle, and the rudder is a little slow, but that's okay. Detectability by sea, 13.7. It's a battleship. You're not sneaking up on a dead moose with this thing in open water. Now, you can see here, with battles, I've only done 4. And I can assure you my stats in this thing are going to get crazy. This thing is absolutely overpowered. I actually am going to stay a little bit away from it because it seems too easy to use. Maybe not as easy as Conquer or Yami, but pretty easy to use once you get used to the airstrikes. You can see we've 2 battles played. The 2 early games I pushed in being too aggressive and realized this thing can absolutely get wrecked if you're not careful, and everything will punish your superstructure, and you will be gone very quickly if you do that. Now you can see my main gun accuracy, mostly because we've been using Hiroshima for the last 2 matches. Not good. I would, like I said, this ship could use any commander on it. I just like having extra heals with Hiroshima on it because you can heal a lot back from your superstructure. That being said, you can see my average damage a little low, but that will go way up in this ship, I can assure you. Potential damage 1.7, pretty tanky if given the right opportunity and you don't rush in, okay? Armor. This is what I was talking about here. This is a Yamato hull. I will show this first. You do have a 32 millimeter bow and stern, meaning you are not going to get overmatched unless you're across a Musashi or a Yamato. That being said, you do have this Citadel, and I can assure you, if you give up your broadside, you will be gone. Even probably slightly easier than Montana, even though they are similar hulls. It seems like this thing is easier to get rid of on a broadside. This is the real problem up here, guys. Is this huge? Let's get it all up there here quick. This huge superstructure, right? This thing is just enormous, and this is one of the easiest ships to hit in the game. Really one of its only weaknesses. You know, you don't get to use your back turret, and besides going broadside, your back turret's got not a great firing angle, but this superstructure, and you will get spammed, okay? Just remember that when you're in your match. As we start the match, it's disclaimer time. This is a beginner's video meant to help people new to the ship or new to the game. This is not meant for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything in the universe. There are multiple ways to play and build this ship, and I am an above average player, not the world's best. I make mistakes. You may see one in this match. You didn't come here for pronunciations. I'm as good as anybody at slaughtering beautiful languages all the time. With that being said, we are on Trapped, and this is one of the most beautiful examples of a map really helping you on this ship, right? So you're going to want to get close in, but you're not going to want to give a broadside. So what we're going to do is we spawn in the middle. We're going to stay there, okay? One of my biggest pet peeves is giving up the middle. You can absolutely be a devastating force in the middle, even no matter what ship you're in. Sometimes in certain maps like Two Brothers, I wouldn't recommend it. Most maps in most ships, you're just giving up the opportunity to affect the match in an incredible way if you give up the middle. I see way too many people doing it. And now that I'm a decent player, now I'm a pretty good player, you see we're going to line up our first torp set. I would prefer to spawn middle every match, to be honest with you, because I can infect most of it. That being said, we're scooting up, and we're going to use this island to the left to give up, or to make sure we're not going to be getting just absolutely wrecked by ships on our broadside. And you're going to see we're going to turn in, and we absolutely, even hitting 5 out of 6 torpedoes, absolutely tore up that Palmer, right? And we've switched to HE. I thought I got a flood on that first set, and I would highly recommend if you get a flood, you use HE, get your fires going. And you can see he's angled to us anyway, so we're going to get some into the superstructure. We're going to get a fire here, and we're going to go back to AP. This Palmer has a German battleship syndrome. You guys talk about it. You guys have heard me talk about it a million times. And even though this is a short match, we're going to have ourselves a whale of a match. This is going to be a pretty short match, and we're going to be a major player in it. But you can see we're losing a lot of damage to them secondaries. We do help finish off Palmer. Palmer lasted all of a few seconds, and that guy had a lot of fun. That being said, we're going to start healing. You can see we were at about half health here. And I want you to watch what we get back in heals. Now, you see a very biggest thing with this ship is learning how to angle, use these airstrikes here. And you're going to see we back it off a little bit, but not too much. Jutland decides to show himself here. We're going to switch over to HE. And we're going to work on wrecking him. Now, we only get a couple shells to hit that Montana, but you can see we hit all 6 with our planes, and we've got more damage with our planes than we do our main guns already right now currently. That being said, we're going to go absolutely and help get rid of this destroyer the best we can, and we're going to work on pushing up because we can help finish them off. As you can see here, we're going to start moving forward. Now, Montana has clearly decided he hasn't liked this life and is sailing broadside to us, and we're going to try to get rid of him here. Now, we're careful of torps coming at us, so we're going to go ahead, put some shells downrange. And this is the one thing I would say about Hoshino. I actually probably would recommend using Sims on this for the accuracy, but that's all up to you. Now, Kleber is there, and I'm kind of caught on this island. Now, this is a terrible drop here, guys. You're going to see I do a little bit too close in, and this guy is slowing down and turning in. Did not realize that, and we're not going to get any of them off. And had I even been better at these airstrikes, and you can see showcasing this match, I'm going to miss some with it. But I'm also, you guys have seen me done that 30,000 damage with just the airstrikes, right? So you can see that. We're trying to get moved up to get rid of the Colombo here and start getting crossfires and that other destroyer. But again, stuck on the island like an idiot. This could have been even a better game if I had gotten myself into position a little bit earlier here. But again, we're going to work on taking Montana out here. Now at range, which you're not going to be playing this thing too often, not super accurate. We haven't got a ton of our shells to hit. And our Columbo helps get rid of them. So now we're gonna go ahead and try to get pushed in here. As you can see, we're trying to line up another airstrike here. And one mistake I make here, right, is we do get turned in. On our next shot, I get so worried about getting our airstrike off. On our next shot, I do not actually use our airplane. And we are catapult fighters, and we probably should have. I'm waiting for him to spawn. I'm working on getting turned in so he doesn't dev strike me. And our destroyer has launched a bunch of torpedoes at him. And to the destroyer's credit, he's going to hit a bunch of them, take off a ton of his health. And we are going to go ahead and get rid of, or send off an airstrike, but we're going to go ahead and try to get rid of Columbo here. That was kind of a waste of an airstrike, to be honest. We're going to push up, try to get rid of this destroyer. We know it's back here. It's a close match, and in fact, we were losing it until we got rid of that Montana. So we are going to push in. Now, this is going to be the downside of using a Shino here in a second. You're going to see we have some pretty ugly Savos coming up. Right here, we know Kerfurst is turning in. We got HE loaded for the destroyer. And we're going to hit 2 shells. Okay. Also, you can see how much we've healed back from that damage we've taken early on. And it's been quite a bit. So these heals are pretty good. Now, these Kerfursts are going to get away with robbery here. And I think that's just because I have Oshino on. We're getting the cap. And then, of course, right when I shoot, the Clavier is going to get spotted. And we hit 3 shells at 12 kilometers on GK. And they're going to get away with that. Still can't believe that. We know Torps are coming, so we're going to keep ourselves skinny. And we're going to work on getting rid of the destroyers. So we've helped get rid of 2 destroyers. And we're going to go ahead and push up. And this Napoli makes a big mistake here. So we know we're going to probably dev strike Napoli. So there is no reason. We're going to go ahead and try to get close. We know he's turning, so we're going to get close in. And we are going to absolutely dev strike this Napoli. Now, our destroyer has Torps going to him. But honestly, we didn't have no other shot. If we had another shot, I would have let our destroyer kill him. I figured I'd get rid of him quicker rather than waiting around. And very quickly, just in a few minutes, we got 180,000 damage. And our Columbo is rushing in. We're going to work on getting the cap here. And you're going to see I take a shot here. It's a little aim too far forward. And we do get a little bit damage here. But again, the main guns with Hayashino, not super wonderful. And our Columbo is going to just ram this guy. Otherwise, it could have been in a pretty credible game here. Because we're going to have to kill him as well. And we're just going to finish the game off by getting GK here finish off. So for what it's worth, a very good game. We had a high caliber. We got rid of 2 destroyers too in the process. A cruiser, so it's not like we just shot at battleships. More importantly, though, helping our team win with a 3,000 base game. Wonderful ship. Tell me what you guys think down below. Have a good one, folks. We'll see you next time.